Hello there and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about Transmog, and more specifically Transmog on the brand new Dracthyr race, which is the brand new race coming in Dragonflight, and their two forms and how the Transmog works between these two forms and all of the rules and kind of things that they've kind of got in place as of this first build of Alpha. But before we jump into all of that, guys, I just want to shout out my Twitch, twitch.tv/MrGM. If you want to see me streaming Dragonflight Alpha Beta, Wrath Lich King Beta, any sort of World of Warcraft content, I'm over on twitch.tv/MrGM. Every single day. Right, so yes, the Dracthyr evokers. So let's talk about the Transworld rules and how everything works here, because it is a little interesting and it can get a little bit confusing when kind of thinking about it and talking about it, and I hope they do make some changes, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So first and foremost, the evokers use male armor. The Transmog that you will be getting on your Dracthyr evoker will be male. Now, obviously, if the Dracthyr in the future turn into warriors or hunters or whatever, they'll use that armor type that those classes use, because obviously right now, Dracthyrs can only be evokers, and evokers can only be Dracthyr, and the evoker class uses male armor. So yeah, all your really terrible male Transmogs will be available on the Dracthyr evokers. Now, as you can see, there are two forms for the Dracthyr. You have the Visage form, which is the mortal form, with the male being based loosely off of the Blood Elf male, and the female model being based off of a human. Obviously, the Dragon form, as you can see here, which you can freely switch between with the spell Visage, this is obviously the Dragon form, and if you haven't noticed, the Transmog is a little different between these forms. So let's explain what's going on here. So while on your Visage form, all Transmog works as it normally would. It is a little bit bugged on the alpha right now, because when you do go to Transmog, it only shows the Dragon form, so you don't get a good idea of what your Transmog will look like. But if we do switch it around and add some random Transmogs, you will see that the Visage form will actually change, as you can see here. It's just got some new random gear on that we just have just on this character, because we don't have character copies yet, so I don't have all of my other Transmog, but as you can see, all Transmog kind of works on the Visage form. So that's all fine and good for the Visage form. Now for the Dragon form, it's a little bit complicated, it's a little bit different, it's not quite what you'd expect. So as you can see, the shoulders here are actually transmogged. So these are the exact same shoulders I have on the Visage form, and also the belt. Now the belt, I don't know if it's intended, because it is a little bit weird. It's just the 3D asset of the belt. As you can see, it's just kind of sitting there on top of it. They are the only two Transmog that do appear on your Dragon form. So as you can see, when I go to the Transmog menu, I go through the shoulders, and the shoulders on the Visage form do change between all of these shoulders I have available, and the belt as well. But that will only show belts that are 3D. So any belts that are kind of 2D or old school ones that don't have any 3D assets will not show. It's simply just the buckle of the 3D ones. And again, I think this might be some sort of bug. It is a little bit weird and definitely a little bit jarring. And I'll show you how it can even be even more jarring. You could probably notice that this dragon also has some armor, and how is he wearing this armor? So what they've done with the Dracthyr dragon form is they've actually implemented armor onto the barber. It's actually a part of the model. Now, as I go to the barber here, you can see there is a new option for armor, and all of this armor can be changed. So you can change the helm, or you can have no helm or shoulders or anything like that that you would like on your character. Now this is a very select few amount of items, but they are really cool, and they're 3D assets, as you can see. Very, very nice looking, and you can mix and match that and change all the colors around as well, which is really nice, and get some really cool looking kind of sets with your Dracthyr. Now, it is pretty cool, as I said, but there is obviously a shoulder option here, as you saw. Now with the shoulders will only show up if I don't have my shoulders transmogged. So as you can see, I have shoulders selected, but when I go back, the shoulders that appear are the ones that I transmogged, and the simple way to kind of remove that is just to untransmog them into hide shoulders, and that will appear to show the shoulders that I selected on the barbershop. So it's a little bit weird, as I said. With weapons on the Dracthyr, it's exactly the same as it works right now with all other races. They can use one-handed axes, one-handed swords, one-handed maces, daggers, fist weapons, two-handed axes, two-handed swords, two-handed maces, and staves. And you can obviously just transmog those with the regular rules that you get with like other classes as well. So there's no special weapon transmog rules with the Dracthyr Evoker. There's just a selection of weapons that they can use as the Evoker class. Gear essentially for the Dracthyr Dragon form form is selected through the barbershop, which I think is okay. Obviously, I would have liked to have, you know, the ability to transmog your dragon form. Blizzard are making some changes where you can actually be in your dragon form almost all the time. As of right now, whenever you like mount or anything like that, you go back into your Visage form, but that is something they are looking into changing in a future build. So yeah, let's don't need to talk about that. But yeah, essentially, the dragon form transmog is selected through the barbershop, and the Visage form is the regular way. And as I said, like with the UI right now, it's a little hard to transmog, but I think that's something that will probably change in a future build, and they'll update the UI for kind of transmogging your Visage form, because we've never really had a race like this, apart from maybe the Worgen. But with the Worgen, you know, the Worgen form wears the gear, and whereas the dragon form here does not wear it. Now, it does get a little bit messy and a little bit interesting, and I do have a theory on how they're going to do this, but obviously with the tier set from the brand new raid, the Dracthyr Evokers do have their own tier set, and it has an appearance. It looks like this, and this is the new tier set for the Dracthyr. Obviously, if you obtain that gear and you transmog into that gear, you'll be wearing it in your Visage form, but you won't be wearing it in your dragon form. But my theory here is that I think once you start unlocking like class-specific things like that Evoker set, I think that might unlock it as an option in the barbershop, and you'll be able to transmog your dragon form into that, and it will kind of be like an unlock of sorts that you'll be able to do. But that's just a theory. Like obviously with the Dark Ranger stuff that was added recently, that's sort of like a new customization that's unlocked through a various like, you know, requirement. And I think that's something they could definitely do, and hopefully they do, where, you know, you have that Evoker tier set and you can actually wear it in your dragon form. But there is quite a few options, as I said. Like, you know, you can wear quite a few different pieces of gear on your Evoker. You don't have as many options, obviously, as you would if you were to use like regular transmog. You just kind of have like set pieces that you could use together. I guess one good thing about it is like the sets do kind of look quite good if you put them, you know, you can mix and match them quite a lot, and it doesn't look too jarring or too different. And obviously with the color scheme as well, that's something you can kind of keep uniform across the board for your kind of dragon transmog. Personally, as I said, you know, I would have preferred it that you can transmog straight onto your dragon form, and maybe that's something they're looking into in the future. But as of right now, this is the only way you can kind of use transmog in a sense on your Dracthyr Evoker, and the only items you can choose from your collection tab are shoulders and belts. So yeah, there you go, guys. There is the kind of transmog rules for the Dracthyr race. Let me know down below what you think of that. Do you think it's something they should change in the future? Do you think it's something that is okay? Yeah, it's interesting. It's a very contentious and interesting topic, and a pretty bold move from Blizzard, obviously, kind of removing a lot of transmog options, especially if you're in your dragon form more often than not, especially for combat and things like that. So yeah, interesting. Very, very interesting. But this is the first build. Things are subject to change, of course, and I'd love to know your thoughts. So guys, before I go, I'd like to give a massive shout out to my amazing patrons, YouTube channel members, and Twitch subs. You guys are awesome. And if you'd like to support the channel in any of those ways, links are down below. So leave a like on this video, guys, if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't. I've also got a partner Discord channel with over 3,000 members. And as I said, I'm now streaming on twitch.tv/MrGM. If you want to see me streaming Dragonflight Alpha Beta, Wrath of the Lich King Beta, any sort of World of Warcraft content, guys, we've been doing a lot of testing. It's going to be a good summer. And yeah, we're over on twitch.tv/MrGM every single day. And with that, guys, I'll see you next time.